everybody, this is Tracey from Lavinia Stamps and welcome to another demonstration day. Today we're going to be using our brand new stencils. I've got a few cards I made earlier, and this was with the acrylic paints, but also using alcohol inks as well, which is what I'm going to be showing you. So I just flick through some of these. You can have some really nice subtle backgrounds like this, or you can have some nice sort of vivid, more colourful backgrounds. Just depends on which inks you're using. I think I used two different inks on this one for the background, but as you can see they can be as vibrant or as subtle as you want. I think the subtle ones would suit stamping, whereas some of the more vibrant ones are nice enough just by themselves with nothing added, maybe a bit of glitter or some kind of embellishment, but sometimes we can overdo things if we were then to stamp over the top of something that's this sort of intricate and heavy. But I'll explain that as I go along. I'll just pop those to the side and we'll make a start on the first one. So I'm going to be using Venice Blue and on Antarctic today, and the alcohol ink I'm using is Eggplant. So taking my brayer, this is the one I use for acrylic paint, as you can see. That's my nice clean one that I use for my inks, so I do try and stick to the one I need to, so that it doesn't get covered in acrylic paint again. So if you clean it as you go along, then probably that's the best bet, but as you know, I'm pretty hopeless at cleaning things as I go along. Okay, so Venice Blue. I'm going to pop a little of that down. We don't need much at all. And then I'm going to just blend that and cover the gel press completely in this lovely sort of grey blue. And then I'll just wipe any excess off on a scrap piece of paper. Okay, so taking our stencil, I'm going to pop that down over the top now, and then simply go over the top, and it just takes that paint off where the areas are more exposed. So and again I'll just wipe that off. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is take our eggplant, and we're going to take our smoothie. Now I've used this smoothie with the eggplant before, so I do try and stick to the same one. And all I'm going to do is I'll show you how much I'm using. Just a little pool there. And then just pick that up. And then I'm going to just go over the top. Making sure that I've covered everywhere. Now if you want a more intense colour, you know, put a little bit more of the alcohol ink on the background, but I just want this to be quite subtle. I think I do need just a spot more. So I'm making sure that I'm covering the stencil completely. Okay, that should do it. So I just take that off now, and I'm going to pop the stencil in some water over here. Give it a little swish about. Pop my lid on before I spill it, and then we're going to just pop some of the Antarctic over the top of this now to take a print. So because I'm only using very thin layers, they do dry quite quickly, so I don't need to wait around too long before taking a print. So I'm just putting a little on. Don't need much, and then we're just going to blend that over the top. Nice thin layer. And you can tell how thin it is because I can see the stencil come through the pattern underneath, and even some of the colour. So that's how thin it is. So now I'm taking some card and just popping that over the top and smooth that over. Make sure that you've got all the edges covered. And then there we have it. So it gives a really lovely effect, doesn't it? It's just something different again. I thought I'd try it and I was quite pleased with the results. So that's ready to stamp onto now. Okay, so now I've got my background. I'm going to just trim that down. And we're going to be using Jalandhar on this. So we need our nocturne. Now I'm going to stamp this out around here, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Now it's a big stamp, so make sure that you cover that whole area, not missing any detail. Okay, I'm hoping that's got it. So I'm going to bob that down like so. Give that a good press. Let that rest on the card a while. It's a nice big stamp, so it needs to just have a little bit more time just to soak into the card. Okay, I'm hoping that's got everything. So I'll just take that off. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp the same image onto a scrap piece of paper. And now I'm going to cut that out. I'm not worried about the thinner areas. I'm just going to cut out the easy part, shall we say. And I know some of you are really good at cutting. I must admit, I would never make a fussy cutter. I just don't have that kind of patience. I think it's amazing what people do when they're fussy cutting. I'm just going to cut round the easy bit. Okay, so you can see that I've just cut out those the sort of more solid areas, and this is what then we'll place over the top, and that immediately makes it stand out so much more. So I'm going to glue that down. Just line that up and then follow that down and just put that into place. And you're almost tracing that area underneath. Just need a little bit more glue there, just on the back. And that is pretty much perfect. Okay, and you can see now that really does make it stand out so much more. Because the stencil is quite sort of overpowering, it's just a way to make the stamp stand out better. But it's important to stamp first, because we certainly don't want to be cutting out all these feathery areas here. So it's just an idea. Okay, so I'm going to use a fine paintbrush now and just go around the edge of this. I'm going to use the colour box. This is Deep Sea, this one. So because it's a water based, I can just use a paintbrush, add a bit of water, and then we're just good to go with that. So I'm going to go around the edge and this will just make it stand out that much more again. So just take your time I think, as I've said before, the sort of, when you come to painting, it's quite therapeutic. I tend to switch off, totally forget I'm on camera actually, but so you'll have to excuse me if I just go into complete silence. So you can see how it's all starting to really stand out now on this lovely background. So I've put a nice light wash around the edge, and now I'm going in with a slightly deeper colour, and this will give it a little bit more depth again. So I'm just working my way around, slightly darker. Got a fly buzzing around me here. I hope you can't hear him buzzing. I think he's desperate to get out. I'll let him out in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to I'm not going to do a lot more to this because I think it's quite nice as it is. I'm just going to use the violet pearl mica minerals. I'm going to add a little bit of water to these. Let's clean my brush off. Just going to put a little bit down on the mat here. And I'm just going to sweep that over the top. And it gives it that lovely sort of effect, and the sort of pearlized violet effect, it just looks stunning when you paint it. So I'm just putting a little of that in. And I'm hoping you can see that under the camera there. Okay, and lastly, I think let's put some little bubbles around. So we're going to use the Versamark and just bob some of these about. And a little one. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the mica powder again and go over the top of these. You might not be able to just see that yet, but I'll show you under the camera. I'm going to find where I've put them. Another one there. Okay. And lastly, I keep saying lastly, but this time we're going to go with the Twilight, and I am just going to go around the edge. And this then sort of complements the colour that I've used to go around the edge of the jellyfish. So just helps it all tie in together. And there we have it. Now, something else you can do if you want, I've got the glossy accents here, and it's quite nice actually adding that over the top of the jellyfish. And it actually 3Ds it. This is like a resin, and it will dry completely clear, but it dries three-dimensionally, so it really does stand out. So it takes a little bit of time to dry off because there's quite a lot on there, and you can always build it up again if you want that to be more domed. I'm only going to do that area. I mean, of course, if you wanted to, you could put it over the top of those as well, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to show you the effect when it's all dried. Well, thanks for joining me with the demo today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care and see you all real soon. Bye for now, guys.